Hello, I'm Daniel José Older. I'll be reading Saturn Rising by Arthur Fitzgerald. At lights out, squatting on discarded plastic buckets brought in from the docks, they hunkered down over Nova's headboard and constructed artists' astrological chart. Nova, sipping instant coffee between streams of chatter, date of birth 7 November 1992, 1803 hours, sunset, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Your next visit to the hole will be in 3 months. Later that day, artists went to the prison library with Supernova and pored over books on the cosmos, color photographs of Mars and Saturn, the planets Nova claimed were giving him all his trouble. Nova was inclined to look for influence flowing from the outward to the inward, artist vice versa. The librarian, a tall, thin dude named Shaggy, strolled over to their table and looked over Nova's shoulder, leaning against him. Nova had red hair, green eyes, and toenails black with fungus. He was a woman in a man's body. They'd already denied being sexual with each other, but who knows? That didn't stop them from playing footsies under the table, Shaggy observed. Nova worked in the kitchen and smuggled food out for artists, stuffing sandwiches, pastries, and bags of coffee inside the waistband of his kitchen whites. He did a brisk business selling the coffee. He wasn't able to get a lot of guys interested in buying astrological charts. Many consider convicts animals, burrowing nocturnals. A grave is a hole. It allows a body to decompose in darkness, out of sight, out of mind. A hole is also a trap, something you stumble into that you then can't get out of. Many think of being in the hole as being in debt. And for an inmate, it does entail that, because you lose your good time and your work credits and your job and your status. Despite all these nuances, everyone understands what's meant by going to the hole. Artist was incapable of refusing a dare. He got caught in sexual acts in the laundry room, the bathroom, the shower, the library, an education classroom, a therapy room, the gym, a supply closet, the kitchen storeroom, the porta potty in the yard. Not once, but several times. In his 20 years at Martinville, however, Artist had been with only one person he cared about, a guy named Spin. All other partners were either paying customers or taken on as dares. The 7th trip to lockup was exactly like the 6th, literally. It was on the same day of the week, the same hour of the afternoon. Artist wore exactly the same sweats, the same, he realized later, frayed boxer shorts, the same socks with the holes at the big toe and the heel. He was locked into the same cell, given the same sheets, graced with the same rips and tears and inked-in profanity. He sat at the table and watched the same pig-shaped cloud float along the eastern horizon. The same little gray-breasted bird perched on the windowsill and hopped the same bird dance for the same minute before it flew off. Artist and Spin often ended up in lockup at the same time, either because they got caught having sex or because one of them had gone up and the other deliberately did something to go up and join him. It was like that between them. They got cells across the corridor from each other and stood at their portholes to chat. "Aren't you glad I'm here?" Spin asked. "Talk dirty to me," Artist replied. These were the best of times. They attached cigarettes to a thin board and slid it under the doors across the waxed hallway. Artist and Spin went for a year at one point with no lockup time, a year in which they met for sex, in the shower, the bathroom, in their bunks behind a draped sheet, in the day room, behind the backstop in the yard, and never got caught. The following year, the whole thing flipped. Artist was locked up twice for things he didn't do. He didn't steal the pan of roast beef from the kitchen, and those weren't his pills found in his area during the shakedown. Their relationship was so notorious and their crime so egregious, the warden decided to split them up and ship Spin out to a different joint. They exchanged angry, hurt letters, each blaming the other for the fiasco that led to their separation. Artist spent the next 2 years in the hole. He would scream and bang things and sing at the top of his lungs. Jesus loves the little children, and he's got the whole world in his hands. He yelled all day about DOC receiving kickbacks based on the number of inmates held in lockup, therapists keeping them sick to ensure their jobs. He spent time in the rubber room. Every time he sat with the psych, his scars started burning. They would ignite and glow as if the living coals of the cigarette were embedded there. The smell of burnt flesh filled the room.